What is up, guys? Welcome to CJ's Vlogs and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be speccing a very beautiful car that is the Ferrari 812 Competizione. Now, as you know, I've done previous videos on other cars like the SF90 Stradale, the beautiful Ferrari Roma, and even 48 Pista. So these videos are sort of to show you an in-depth look at what is possible on the options of these cars. You know, with Ferrari, it's extensive. You can experience dealership level personalization, which is this on our next generation configurator. You also have the Atelier program as well as Tailor Made, and with those programs you can pretty much go far and beyond. So today we'll be doing the 812 Competizione, the special series limited edition of the 812 Superfast, and in future, once the 812 Competizione Aperta is available on the configurator, we will do that as well. So let's hop in. And when we jump in, you can immediately see that there's different configurations that are already available. These are some of the launch cars that were there. The Grigio Competizione car with the Giallo fly stripe, and then the Bianco Italia car, extraordinarily beautiful. As well as, if you had seen the launch video of the Competizione, you would have seen the Competizione Aperta, which is finished in Giallo fly as well, which is a very historical yellow color for Ferrari. So today we'll start with default configuration, which is in Rosso Corsa, so that we can go through the different options that are available, and we'll build the car as we go along the way. As you can see, the background is incredible already. We have the new fantasy circuit as that is available to see on the configuration, and we'll begin with the exterior. Always choosing the beautiful paint color for this car is very important. You know, it is a front engine V12, so my suggestion is always that metallic is a great route to begin with, but you have 15 colors to choose from as standard. That's both solid and metallic, and then you also have the Ferrari historical colors. You know, you've got Verde British, you've got Canadi for Chile, amazing colors. We've got the new color Bianco Cervino, we've got vintage paint. You know, these are incredible colors: Vernaccia, Verde 690, Azzurro Metallizzato. These are all amazing colors. And then of course we've got the 2-layer extra range paints as well as the special color paints. And then even if you want to go really extreme, you can have a matte paint. So for this example, I'm going to go for a color that I've admired for a very long time, which is Blue Le Mans. My favorite color for Ferrari is Blue Tour de France, which is way up here as a standard offering metallic, but I think Blue Le Mans is just a color that I've been drawn to since I've seen it on a 488 Pista Spider. And then of course you have two options of livery. So you have what we call longitudinal, which is front to back, nose to tail livery, and then you also have the transverse livery, which will flow over that carbon fiber boomerang that is on the bonnet and detail the rear spoiler. So just to show you the two liveries, I'll turn the car around here so we can go for the transverse. You see that it details around on the rear spoiler there, and you've also got detail all along that carbon fiber boomerang, which is extremely beautiful, very finessed, very detailed. And then you've also got the longitudinal livery, which runs front to back, which is much more pronounced and flows nicely between those vortexes that are on the rear of this car. Gosh, this car is absolutely beautiful. But for me, we're going Blue Le Mans. We'll keep it subtle with the yellow, so we'll go for the finer details that run along the boomerang and the tail. For me, I would personally do this car Tailor Made, because I think it's worthy of that. It is a limited edition Ferrari. With that, you have various options of wheels. You've got a similar offering that you had on the 812 Superfast, which is the matte silver, matte black, or diamond finished forged racing wheel. which is this 10-spoke wheel, which is absolutely gorgeous. You can see in black, it's also quite aggressive. And then we also have the latest offering, which is the Competizione wheel. We'll go for the dark painted color, which is matte grigio corsa, which will sort of be like a dark gray. And then you even have a diamond option in that wheel, and of course you have the carbon fiber wheels, which only weigh 4 kilograms each. Absolutely incredible engineering, which suit this car very well if I look at it right now. But I think for the sake of keeping this classy, I'm going to go with the forged diamond cut wheel. And you have a variety of calipers. We have an extensive array of calipers. You've got red, which is so very similar to the Rosso Corsa, Rosso Scuderia. You've got Grigio Silverstone. You've got yellow, aluminium, blue, and gold. And although yellow would be fantastic, I think it looks very, very nice on this car. Blue would also look great to sort of tie with that blue Le Mans. But Silverstone Grey is just an interesting narrative that you create, because you sort of change it away from the norm, away from what people would expect. But because you guys on YouTube, I understand you're very passionate about Ferrari, let's hit that yellow. Then we can have that yellow wheel cap, yellow caliper, yellow badge, as well as the yellow that runs along on the liveries, on the boomerang and the tail. Now, you also have the option of these Pirelli marked tires, these color editions. You can have it in giallo, rosso, or grigio. The grigio looks very, very cool, so does the rosso. But for this application, we could use the yellow, but I sort of feel like if you look at the car, it's a bit becoming very Christmas tree-like, because you've got yellow everywhere. So I'd say let's dull it down. Let's bring it down just a little bit, and let's use the Grigio Pirelli. Of course, we'd want the high performance tires. That is just an upgrade, because you'd get Michelin Cup 2s, and then with the high performance you'd get the Michelin Cup Rs. And of course we want all of the carbon fiber, which will be a part of the personalization package that you have on this car. So we'll have the front air vents in carbon fiber, your underdoor cover, which runs all along the side of the door, your rear diffuser, your engine covers, and your filter box covers. I truly believe that a car like this is very deserving of having all of the carbon fiber. And I'm starting to build a car that I would actually build now. So let's head to the interior, since we've done the exterior, and let's see where we go. Let's just have one look at the exterior before we go in. You can see we've got all of the carbon fiber, that beautiful prancing horse in the front grille, the livery's done correct. That color of blue Le Mans is just awesome. And doesn't this car just look so at home on track? Developed for the racetrack, but needless to say, this will be a monster on the road as well. So let's head inside. Let's go to a view that maximizes our ability to see the interior. And with the interior here, now the norm would be to go black, and then you detail it with either yellow or blue. But I think that we should think out of the box here, because the car comes standard with Alcantara. You'd have to option leather upholstery, so we can do leather upholstery like it is showing us right now. But I think I would go for Koyo Alcantara, keep it very old school, very much like an old school race car. I'd also want the colored mats with the logos, which I will show you right now. That means the mats will have, as you can see there, the writing of 812 Competizione. Otherwise, you can have the standard mats, which will be in the black color if you so choose. And of course, these are the squared racing seats that are now offered on the car. So if we just go to a view here, we'll choose the extra large seats. Now you do have the squared racing seats, you have your carbon fiber racing seats, which will allow you to put a strip of leather or Alcantara in a contrasting color down the center of the seat, or you have the Daytona seats, which many can argue as it being more historical. But for this exercise, because you don't get the squared option very commonly, and you know, if you look back at the 250 Competizione of the 1960s, that had squared racing seats, squared designs in the seats. So I think we'll go with that. And of course we want the racing seat lifter so that we can adjust the height of of the seat, and there's an array of safety belts that are here. But I think for this exercise I will go with the 4-point harnesses. I've just got to find them here, which I'll get to in a moment. Let's just carry on going. Of course, we will go with special stitching in blue electrico. That'll be, here we go. Or let's just go for the standard blue and just, yeah. There's just having a little boo-boo here with it. Okay, what it wants us to do is make sure that the details in the dashboard would be blue, and then we can add our blue stitching as well. Now of course you can sort of combine it however you want with your car. It's just the configurator is sort of restricting me for the moment, but that's okay. So we've got our blue details, and then we can add, we've already got Alcantara across this entire part of this car. Let's go to our rev counter, since all of these areas are to change you know, the different Alcantara color that's available. So if I wanted the rear wall to be in a blue Alcantara, I could choose it like that, or I could just leave it as Koyo. Perhaps the upper area, I could have it in blue. It sort of brings the interior down a bit. I think that is actually very nice. So your sort of headliner down and to the rear will be in a blue Alcantara, and then your boot area can also be in a blue Alcantara. So the Alcantara can actually flow all the way in there. And as we've done with some cars here before, is we've done an 812 Superfast with leather in beige Tradizione from the front of the car all the way through the seats, the rear parcel shelf, and into the boot. And it is one of the most elegant looks for a V12 car I've seen ever. So that is awesome. And of course you can have CLDT, which is your colored inner details. Now that will be an option if you chose the Daytona seat or the standard racing seat, but since we're keeping with the squared seat here, we cannot have that line down the middle of the seat, as it's not aesthetically pleasing. Of course you can have your steering wheel in leather colors that are our standard leather colors, such as blue medio, charcoal, nero, Koyo. But for this exercise in this car, what I would do personally is continuing the Alcantara flow. So you've got a mix of carbon fiber and Alcantara, so you sort of keep that close. So what you do is you can request for the factory to actually do the entire steering wheel, besides the airbag, which is in the center, in Alcantara. So the grip handles on the side, you'd be able to have in Alcantara. So when you hop in this car, you put your leather driving gloves on and you grab that steering wheel. It's very much like being inspired by a race car. And of course we can even change the upper dashboard into, oops, I may have made a mistake there. You can, let me re-put that in. You can have your upper dashboard in a different color, but for this car we can leave it in the Koyo, because we're continuing that flow throughout the car. And of course you can have, the interesting thing is you can have leather and you can have Alcantara in this car. Now some people choose to mix it, some people choose to have one color throughout. For me, I would keep the Alcantara flow here. The leather is really, if you want to make this more suitable to you as something, how would I say, something that you want to create more elegance, because of course Alcantara is a racing material. It's derived from racing, and this car is built to be a track ready version of the road car. It's more aggressive, so we'll sort of keep this Alcantara look and feel. And the thing is, you hop into a car like this, you've got the Alcantara, you've got the carbon fiber. It sort of reminds you of how special it is, because not normally do you find Alcantara in especially a V12 GT. So for me, we can go on to the next step, which is the rev counter. Now this is unlike the Roma or the SF90, where you have the digital one, which you can sort of change to whichever you desire. This is one that you will live with for the rest of your life, and I think aluminium is a great choice here because it continues the flow of all of those elements that are in the dashboard, those elements that are on the doors, and sort of that look and feel. Because if we go for a yellow, it is aggressive, it does suit the badge on the steering wheel, but it will probably it makes it aggressive. I mean, I love it, but I think for this application we want it to be a car that is classy and sporty, but can remain classic. So I'm going to go with aluminium. And of course you also have cockpit details, and within that you have your dedication plate in silver. So if I swivel this around, you'll see that there's a plate between the seats. So you can have 812 Competizione or 812 Competizione Aperta, and then you'll be able to have a little message. Perhaps you want to put your name, or maybe you want to say dedicated to, or maybe you want to put a quote. You could do that, and even if you go to Atelier, you can have whatever you want quoted in the sill of the car, which is also an incredible personal touch that you can do. And then of course we have the red rings on the dashboard vents, which you'll see on there. And because this car does not have any pop to that dashboard, I think that red ring will suit the little lettering, the little engine start stop button, as well as the lettering that is on the carpets in red. So we can sort of keep this look and feel. It is looking very, very nice. And now with carbon fiber, you have both the option of gloss and matte finish. That's personal preference. The car will come standard with the glossy carbon fiber, and for me, I think the matte finish just gives it that ounce of elegance to it. So I will choose carbon in the matte finish, as well as speccing every single carbon piece here, the instrument cluster, the dashboard inserts, the upper tunnel trim. You can see it dramatically changes the way that center tunnel is, and you can even see how it affects the door panels. The door panels are completely carbon fiber. You've got the carbon fiber running through the dashboard, on the steering wheel, all throughout the car. And of course you've got these beautiful carbon racing seats. And then of course I do the door handle in carbon fiber, which sort of takes that completely out of the occasion. So you've got a door panel that is completely carbon, and you've got these little elements of your Cuoio Alcantara, or if you had leather, your leather would be placed on the door handle and the upper dash. And that for me looks incredible. And you'll see that the carbon fiber runs into the rear and then all along this rear shelf, and of course where the vortexes are on that rear section, it is also in carbon fiber. As you can see, that plate in the middle says limited edition, one of XXX. Perfect. That is really, really special. I think this interior looks very, very nice. I think you can be really adventurous with these cars because the cars themselves give you the opportunity to go beyond. I mean, every single Ferrari does, but there's just something about a special series and making it yours. There's a saying that goes, every Ferrari is unique, and you building your Ferrari to your personal taste is you writing your mark in history, which I think is so special. And that is how you feel when you build one of these. And so we can see that we've got the blue Le Mans, we've got that Cuoio Alcantara peeking through the car. Now of course you've done your colors, you've done your combination, whether you've built it Tailor Made or you've built it in the dealership with your salesperson. The next step would be finalizing your interior. You've done your interior, you've matched all the colors, all the elements that you want inside, even the little details. If you wanted a Scuderia shield on the headrest instead of the traditional horse that we have on the seats, that is all possible with Ferrari. So now we would have the final step, which is usually the simplest, which is your equipment. So under driving, we can have your front and rear driving cameras. Of course we want suspension lift, and that works in conjunction with your AFS lighting. It's always great to have suspension lift, especially on a car that has a front nose like this. You really want to make sure that you clear those speed bumps or any obstructions that you have on the road or in an estate. Of course, Ferrari telemetry is an option which I would not choose personally, because look, it's got a camera in the car and it tracks all of your track performance data. I think it's amazing, but I don't think I personally would drive this car and track as much as I would on the road. And then of course with your infotainment, you have you will have the option to not have a stereo, as some people have done with Pistas, or you have your integrated audio system, or you have the high-powered hi-fi. So for me, it would be the option to have the high-powered hi-fi, because I love listening to tunes. Even though you have the great sound of this V12, the screaming V12 to 9,500 RPM, sometimes you want to take it easy, sometimes you want to listen to your tunes. And then we've also got the passenger display, which is an innovation that a lot of people love having in the car. So that will have a passenger display with all of the car's data, the acceleration, the navigation, the radio, and the driving mode. It is a great option, but for this case I'll leave it out so that we can have that continual of the black running through the dashboard. Apple CarPlay is a great option to have as well. We can have the fire extinguisher that will go in your passenger's footwell. The functionality, you can have chipping film, so anti-chipping, anti-stone chipping film from the factory, so they'll cover various parts of the car, whether it's just the front nose or to the back with the mirrors. You can have the heat insulating windscreen. That is always great because in the winter it keeps the cold out, and in the summer it keeps the heat out, which is a great option to have. And of course with this car you have a luggage set, so you can have a trolley bag and a duffel, or a duffel and a 48-hour. As you can see, a very, very extensive array of options for this car to make it yours. But I think this car came out pretty good. If you guys have suggestions, do make your suggestions in the comments. I think this is how I would have my 812 Competizione. I will be doing a video on the Competizione Aperta as well, so maybe drop your suggestions in the comments for that car, and then I will export this car because I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for joining us with this spec session. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.